Thank you to the Student Success Office for inviting me to present at today's Tejano virtual event, and to you for joining me to learn more about the PREE H2O internship program. I would like to start by highlighting the work of Diné artist Al Woody. Life Origins is a mural located at Bowie High School that was commissioned by La Semilla Food Center in 2021. The mural was inspired by regional foodway stories and shows the interconnectedness of our food and water systems. Here we can see how life originates with water and grows within our soil. Water and soil are limited resources with inherent value, as well as cultural, socioeconomic, and environmental meaning. Just like this mural, the PREE H2O program aims to illustrate the food and water issues that define our community. Before I dive into the details of PREE H2O, I would like to invite you to answer the question: if you could solve one water and or food challenge in our community, what would it be? And please go ahead and share your answers in the chat. Okay, I can see lack of water, how we live in the desert, right? And that's a scary issue. Let me see, anybody else? Any other thoughts on water or food challenges? Yes, definitely allowing or, contributing to clean water for everyone. Yes, the food pantries, that is an ongoing challenge. We definitely need more community gardens. Great. So water quality, water quantity, access to, healthy and nutritious food, all of these are relevant and contemporary issues that affect us all. So your answers reflect the kinds of challenges that our PREE H2O interns work on, turning ideas into solutions for sustainable water and food system. So in order to understand our challenges, we need to understand the context of our location, right? So somebody mentioned the desert in the chat. So if you live in El Paso County, Juarez, or Las Cruces, you are a resident of the largest desert in North America, the Chihuahuan Desert. Our unique ecoregion is geographically distributed between two countries. There's the United States, but the majority of the desert is actually located in Mexico. And our climate consists of hot summers and cool to cold, dry winters. Annual precipitation ranges from 6 to 20 inches, with a large part of the rain falling in the form of monsoonal rains during the summer months. The Chihuahuan Desert is home to a variety of wildlife and plant life. There are hundreds of species of amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds, many of which are endemic to the Chihuahuan Desert, meaning that are only found in this particular geographical location. There are also thousands of plant species, including nearly a quarter of the world's cactus species. So succulents such as the beautiful prickly pear, which is pictured here, can be seen throughout the landscape. There's also the agave plant, which is pictured on the top right corner. This is the indicator species of the Chihuahuan Desert. So if you see this plant in the natural landscape, you know you are home. Life is hard in the desert, right? We know we've experienced these hot summers, drought periods. So all of these create challenges for the organisms living in our ecoregion. I enjoy being part of the H2O program because it provides opportunities for students and for faculty to collaborate on tangible and measurable solutions regarding our food and water systems. Right? So how can we address issues that affect the Chihuahuan Desert as one of the most endangered regions in the world? So our water, where does our water come from? And again, right, you can type in your guesses in the chat. Okay, so we have underground reservoir. Okay. So the Rio Grande from Mexico, rain. Yes, so all of these are valid guesses. So during a non-drought year, right, this is meaning that we get enough water during the summer monsoon. The majority of our water does come from underground aquifers. So there's two main aquifers. There's the Hueco Bolson, and then there's the Mesilla Bolson, right? So we extract this water, and then it's distributed within our community. And then the second largest source is going to be the Rio Grande, right? So this is a river where its headwaters actually start in Colorado, and then the water makes its way down to our region, right, to El Paso, and then it continues to travel into the Mexican states. And then 5% of our water comes from a desalination plant. So did you know that El Paso is actually home to the world's largest inland desalination plant? Right, so what does that mean? Some of our groundwater is actually salty or brackish water that is not usable by living organisms, right? We can't consume it. So the desalination plant, what it does is that it filters out the salts and then it creates a new supply of water for our communities. It's a small percentage, but considering how we live in the desert and a lot of our soil has high salinity content, uh, this is actually a very innovative solution, right, to give us an extra source for water. And in 1991, there was a conservation program and ordinance that passed that has helped reduce water consumption by 35% because water scarcity is a real issue here in our region. If we look at how our water is distributed, 80%, right? So the majority of our water is used for agriculture, and then 10% is used for urban consumption, right? So urban consumption, this includes activities like landscaping and home use. So for example, doing the laundry, washing the dishes, all of those fun chores, right? So living things need water to survive. And then we also need carbon-based foods, right? So we need nutritious foods. And this is where our food system comes in. So our food system is a very complex system that requires different industries working together, right? So we only see one aspect. Maybe we go to the grocery store or we go to a restaurant and then we get the food on our plate. However, before that, there had to be production, right? There had to be farming, cultivation, that food had to be transported. A lot of our food is imported into the region. It also has to be processed, and then there's the retail aspect. So agriculture is the science and practice of farming. And we know that it is deeply integrated into our societal and our economical systems. Okay, so another question, right? So what do we grow here in the El Paso area? What types of crops? What do you think? Okay, pecans, yes. Cotton, pistachios. Yes, so you actually guessed the two main crops. So pecans and pima cotton. Uh, and then we also have different types of orchards, right? So like pistachios, as well as alfalfa, vegetables, and corn. So this graph, what this is showing us is the irrigation depth, right? So that's the amount of, water consumption by these different crops. And then the annual rainfall in El Paso County, which is about 8.9 inches. Right? So this is about the average per year. So notice that our local agricultural system relies on water intensive crops. And the majority of these crops are exported, creating a need for locally grown nutritious food, right? So this goes back to the challenges that you mentioned at the beginning, right? So there's that need for community gardens and for food pantries because 20 to 25% of the children in our region experience food insecurity. And there's also different neighborhoods that are food deserts, meaning that they don't have access to quality or nutrient rich foods. Maybe the closest thing that they have is a gas station or a Family Dollar, right? So the need for that local produce is there. So PREE H2O is an internship program. So as an internship, this is an opportunity for undergraduate students to get hands-on experience working within fields that address water and food issues, right? Our interns, when they start the program, they come in with some, skills. Maybe they're, they know how to use some of the computer software and public speaking. But the point of our internship is to help students develop and build on uh, marketable skills that are going to help them apply for future jobs. So our main purpose is to educate undergraduate students about water and food system issues, right? You don't have to be an expert. You just have to have some interest in solving some of these challenges. And then we also create opportunities for students to implement water conservation solutions. Our goal is to promote rewarding careers by providing day-to-day hands-on experience, and then to also address transdisciplinary issues, because in order to solve these challenges, it's not going to require just scientists, right? We also need people in the humanities, right, or political scientists, so different fields working together, as well as transborder issues, because as you have seen, right, we live in an area in the Chihuahuan Desert that entails two countries collaborating. And then the unique region that we live in, right? So in the desert, there's limited availability of natural resources. So we need to work towards balancing the demand of a growing human population and then urbanization, right? So we've all seen it, all the construction that is taking place over by the Socorro area, right, by the East Lake area. So our interns, they're a group of students who come from diverse majors. Again, it could be engineering, biology, but also in the humanities, right? You could be interested in business, political science, philosophy. And the point is for you to address water conservation and agricultural concerns through participatory action, right? So you actually visit and work at different agencies and you create a research poster that you present at the end of the internship program. So the PRE-H2O is structured as a collaborative effort between UTEP and EPCC, and our goal is to provide a total of 100 internships, right, over a 5-year period. Currently, we are entering our 4th cycle, so we are actively recruiting students to interview and to be part of our summer cohort in 2026. And our impact, some of our interns have integrated their developed technologies and findings for water treatment and food waste that prioritize community-driven initiatives. So the PRE-H2O program is led by a group of faculty mentors at UTEP and EPCC. The co-PIs are Dr. Alex Mayer at UTEP. He is professor of civil engineering. And then there's Professor Paul Hodgkin at the Valle Verde campus. He teaches the biology courses. And then there's also Dr. Adriana Perez. She teaches geology at the Rio Grande campus. And then myself, I teach biology at the Mission del Paso campus. So the faculty mentors collaborate with community agencies, and then we provide opportunities for undergraduate students. Our program pathway is distributed throughout the academic year. In the fall, this is where we are recruiting students and also conducting interviews. So this requires for students to contact Professor Paul Hodgkin, right? If you're an EPCC student, you would email him and request an application. Our deadline for the 4th cycle is today. However, if you are present, right, currently in this presentation, and you're very interested in PRE-H2O and you want to participate, we are willing to extend the deadline until next week. However, you do need to notify Professor Hodgkin by today of your interest. And then the spring and the summer, this is more of the active semesters for the internship. In the spring, we have a professional development workshop series. So students, we usually meet at UTEP once a week, Wednesday nights for about 2 hours and a half, so from 5:30 to 8 p.m. And we meet to learn about food and water issues in the area. And then we also have resume writing, interview skills, and other professional development workshops, as well as meeting the different internship site hosts, right? So they come in, they present on the different opportunities, and then students rank who they would want to work with during the summer. And then just like in a job, right, you interview with the organizations, and then they select their picks. And in the summer, this is when the actual internship takes place. This is over 10 weeks. And students go to the different locations. Basically, they do what any other worker would be doing at that organization. So they're getting that hands-on experience. And then the program ends with the Corey Symposium, which I'll talk about in a bit. So I do want to highlight that PRE-H2O is a paid internship, right? So we offer a spring and a summer stipend to our interns. Now, for our interns, so we've had interns starting since the summer of 2023, right? So we've had 3 cycles so far, and we are lucky enough to collaborate with a variety of local organizations. So there are some government agencies that participate. There's local, like El Paso Water Utility. There's also state agencies like Texas A&M AgriLife Research. And then there's federal agencies like the International Boundary Water Commission, or IBWC. So the pictures here, they are highlighting the day in the life of an intern. So as you can see, there's a variety of activities that our interns participate in, right? So again, we try to match you with your interest and what what type of environment you would like to get experience in. So for example, at El Paso Water, there may be engineering or education majors. So for example, in the bottom picture, that's Willie the Drop, and then our intern, he was doing community outreach over the summer. With Texas A&M AgriLife Research, students were collecting soil samples out in the field and then going back into the lab to analyze those soil samples. And then the IBWC, this is a federal government agency that applies the boundary and water treaties of the United States and Mexico. So they have many divisions, but a couple of them, the environmental management and the water accounting, actively take in interns. So in water accounting, what they do is that they go out into the Rio Grande and then they measure the amount of water, right? So they look at water quantity as well as the river outflow and inflow. And then environmental management may focus on water quality or doing some biodiversity assessments. So there's a lot of cool projects that students can work on during the summer. And then just to highlight, there's also nonprofits and businesses that we collaborate with. So there's the Frontera Land Alliance and Eco El Paso, right? So these are more conservation oriented. However, for Frontera Land Alliance, for the first 2 summers, our interns collected weather data and then analyzed it in regards to, the benefits of green spaces. And then at Growing with Sarah Farms, our interns, they do farm work, right? You do go outside, you're out there pulling weeds, helping with growing the crops. However, the main project is working with drones, right? So the interns get drone certification and they learn to, fly and use the drones in order sort of as a replacement technology to detect pests in the crops that are growing. And then at Keystone and High Desert Native Plants, there's opportunities for field trips, right? So traveling over to New Mexico and then also engaging with local government. So during the second cycle, our interns went to City Council to speak about the benefits of green spaces. Okay. Now, the next slide, I'm going to play a video from Frontera Land Alliance, right? Talking a little bit more of how they have collaborated with the PREE H2O program.
Hi everyone, my name is Viri Orona. I am the education manager for the Frontera Land Alliance. If you haven't heard from us, we are a local land trust. So that means that we protect natural open space areas forever. And we have been working with PREE H2O interns for the past 3 summers. And the way that they help us, it has been through different efforts, such as outreach and climate change initiatives. So what our interns do, they collect data, they go to community events, they interact with the community, and at the end, they present their findings. So the way that they help us is we get to know and understand our community, and then we incorporate all their findings into our programs. So it's a really nice collaboration between them and us, and we're really happy to mentor them and support them in their early careers.
Okay, and then at the end of the internship over the summer, there's the Corey Symposium. So this is a symposium that is housed at UTEP, and basically it provides a dynamic but low stakes environment for students to present their work, right? So it's modeled after professional meetings and conferences where students get to practice their public speaking skills as well as sharing the results of their research projects with other students, with instructors, and with community members. So this is an excellent opportunity to network. So It usually entails submitting an abstract, creating a research poster, and then presenting that. Usually it's that first Saturday in August. And just to highlight 3 of the many posters that our interns have created. So again, we partner with different agencies, and usually the students get to decide the project that they are going to be working on. So it can range from creating a very scientific poster, again, something based on an engineering project, or maybe a project that addresses a educational question, or is focused a little bit more on the humanities. So for example, in the previous cycles, we've had the Philosophical Systems Institute, right? So our interns worked on how to develop the Alamito STEAM Center in the Segundo Barrio. So I just want to highlight, right? So sometimes it can be intimidating to do some public speaking, but this is a very fun experience. You can see our interns sharing, their work, and then you can see the posters that they have created. And even though we may collaborate with the same agencies over and over, every year the students develop different projects, okay? Or they may build up on a project that an intern did the previous summer. But every research poster is unique and presents different findings.
Hi, my name is Isabella Valles. So this year I was able to take part of the Pre-H2O program, which basically is a career development program that focuses on water and agricultural sustainability. And through the program, I was also able to get an internship with Frontera Land Alliance, and I was able to create an environmental literacy project that focused on bringing about awareness to the El Paso Chihuahuan Desert. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Isabella. She worked with us last summer. And then there's another video by Marco. He was part of our first cohort.
Hello, my name is Marco, and I was part of the Pre-H2O internship program, and I interned at Growing with Terra Farm. My project focused on using AI and drone technology for crop detection. I had a great experience working through the Pre-H2O internship program as it gave me the confidence to expand my goals.
Okay, so as you can see, our interns, they provide positive feedback about their participation in the program. Some of them, they realize that they do want to work in food and water career paths, or some of them, sometimes they may realize that they want to switch careers, which is also fine, right? Because the point of an internship is to get experience and to figure out your academic interests. So whether it's the Pre-H2O program or any other type of internship, I always encourage my students, apply. You don't lose anything by applying. So Pre-H2O, we're very proud to say that we are a growing network, right? So here you can kind of see our group pictures over the summers, and we would really like to invite you to join our team for cycle 4. So that would be during the summer 2026. So in order to apply, we do ask that you are enrolled at EPCC or UTEP, either part-time or full-time. You are a U.S. citizen, and that you are at least 16 years old by January 1st, 2026. And again, we accept we accept students from all majors. The application is a painless process, right? So it's a 2-page paper where we ask for some demographic information, right? So like your name, your major. We also require a statement of interest where you tell us why you're interested in the program and how do you think the internship will relate to your academic goals, extracurricular activities, and life experiences. And then also an unofficial academic transcript, a resume or CV, and then a professional reference. So this can be a reference from the workplace or maybe an instructor at EPCC or UTEP. So I would, like to thank you for attending today's presentation. Again, our deadline is today, November 14th. However, if you are interested, we are extending it until next Friday. So next Friday would be the last day for interviewing. You can scan the QR code to find a little bit more through our internship website, or you can follow us on Instagram. Okay. And at this time, if you have any questions, I would be happy to address them. Okay. Yes, so the H2O program, the cycle opens up in the fall. So we would start recruiting again fall 2026. And then that would be our last cohort.
Okay, are there any more questions? Alrighty, if I'm going to go ahead and share the sessions for next week. Let's take a look here. Alrighty, so for next week's session, which will be November 21st, for Happy Math Hour, we'll be having Math 1332, the counting principle, permutations and combinations, along with probability and odds. In Math 2412, we'll be going over hyperbolas and parametric equations. For the 1 p.m. session, we're going to have Christian Salas from the EPCC Mental Health Committee going over the holiday blues. We'd like to take a moment to thank Ms. Preza for presenting for us today. We'd like to thank the audience for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.